Hey guys, Noah from Stage 3 Motorsports here today with our friend Jared from Edge Products, and we're going to be taking a look at their Insight lineup and get some details on what you get in each of these monitors and basically how they work. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, basically these are our Insight gauge monitors. So basically what you're looking at is, instead of adding analog gauges to your pillar or all over your dash, we clean everything up and put it in two monitors. We have our Insight CS2 and our Insight CTS2. The Insight CS2 is a smaller 2.4-inch color screen with a button control. Sits mounted on your dash and gives you those gauges that you want. When you're looking at it, you can get things like boost pressure or trans temp, gear ratios, some of those things in there. But the biggest thing is, you know, instead of having all those gauges lined up when you're towing or if you've done custom tuning to the vehicle, it can all be cleaned up in one little monitor. Guys looking at this Insight CS2 is guys that don't want, the people don't really want big screens or taking up the whole dash, or maybe in a car they don't have a lot of room. So a lot of car guys really like the CS2 because it's smaller and cleaner on the dash, that they don't have a lot of windshield room, so they want to keep it out of that visible area on their viewing driving. So that's one thing about the CS2. The CTS2 is the larger 5-inch color touchscreen. Just like the CS2, it basically tries to take all those analog gauges, all that information come into the vehicle and put it in a nice color touchscreen. Where it sits up on the dash, it can give you more gauges of view at one time versus the CS2. Guys who are towing a lot love the CTS2, especially diesel owners, truck owners. If you're towing, you can see what gear you're in when you're towing. You can see the exhaust gas temperatures on the newer 6.7s with the EGT right in the manifold. What's your turbo boost? You can watch trans temperatures, oil temperatures, so everything, all that kind of information sitting there. The big things that separate the CS2 from the CTS2, the CTS2 allows you to have a backup camera to it, has an accelerometer for pitch and roll. It is the larger screen. It also can include our EAS power switch. And so our EAS power switch allows you to control accessories such as lighting or lockers. So say if you're towing a vehicle, you're up in the mountains, you have a 20-inch light bar in your grill, you can wire that right into the CTS2 as your command center and use our toggle switch screen that actually looks like a real toggle switch. You hit it, turns it on, you hit it, turns it off. So instead of drilling and putting those holes in your dash, you can actually keep everything right into the CTS2 screen.
So as we're looking at these Insight devices here, what is a guy going to look for depending on maybe if he's running like a power stroke diesel truck versus a Mustang? Are there some advantages to one over the other, or what should I be looking at or focusing on?
That's a good question. I mean, a lot of guys I see that run diesel applications, they like the CTS2. They like the bigger screen. They like the more gauges. Their windshields are big, so they have a lot more room. But they're also wanting to see boost. They want EGTs. They want all that stuff, so they're wanting gear PID. The CTS2 is a great option for that. Guy who's running custom tuning on a diesel that has aftermarket stuff, he wants to add more accessories to it, the CTS2 is where he's going. The guy in the Mustang crowd, they may go towards a CS2, or even a gas F-150 truck may go towards that CS2 because it's a little less expensive. But say for the Mustang crowd, they have a custom tune on their Mustang and they need the gauges. Well, they don't have a lot of room in their windshield, so they want to keep it nice and clean and slick. And so that's what CS2 is really nice for, because it's not taking up, it's not getting in their view of their road and stuff, and it's nice and clean for them.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. One thing you mentioned, so obviously either of these monitors you could use for either applications, it's just some might work better for others. But these Insight devices, obviously the CTS2 and the CS2 can look very similar to your Evolution lineup, but the big difference is that these are specifically monitors, correct? Like they don't come pre-programmed, is that right?
Yeah, exactly. And you know what, that's one of the hardest things for customers to see. You go online, people are like, oh, I want a CTS2. I'm like, okay, well, which CTS2 do you want?
Yeah.
And so that's really where you have to lead them. It's like, okay, if I just want gauges, I don't want performance, or I'd have tuning and stuff, that's where the Insight comes in for sure. The guy looking at the Evolution is the guy that wants the tuning, and that's all included into the package. But yeah, so the guys who don't want the tuning, or they don't need the tuning for some reason, they just go to the Insight. It's a lower price point for them because they're not paying for the tuning, they're just paying for the gauges. And then they have the two options between the CS2 or CTS2.
That's awesome. I'm glad you kind of clarified that. We actually did do a rundown, me and Jared here, talking about the Evolution lineup as well. So if you guys want to get some details on that and you're really more focused on getting the actual tuning involved, we'll put a link up above where you can click through to that video. But with that being said, we also have this EAS system lined up, and I've seen a little bit of the accessories involved with this. Can you kind of explain how that'll tie into these Insight devices?
Yeah, I mean, one of the easiest ways to kind of look at it is, say you have a Ford 6-liter. The difference between a 6-liter and the 6.7, besides the performance and everything else, of course, is, in the new 6.7s, they have EGTs installed in the manifold, in the exhaust pipe. We can actually pull that information off the OBD2 port and display it to the consumer. If you have a Ford 6.0, You don't have that luxury, unfortunately, so you have to drill and tap the exhaust manifold. And that's where the EAS line comes in handy. We can add exhaust to gas temperatures to it. So a customer, if they want to add that exhaust gas temperature, they can go in there, add it to the accessory system, plug it in the manifold, and display it right on the dash. Other things is, say if you have a larger turbo, you need to read higher map sensor, or your map sensor won't read high enough for your pressure, you need to add an aftermarket boost pressure. So we have a 0 to 100 psi G sensor that you can add to it and get that 60 pounds of boost or something if you need to display it on your screen. That's a really cool thing about these. CS and the CTS will allow that EAS expandability system. The big thing about it, like on the EAS system, is the power switch screen.
So it seems like you guys at Edge are always working on new technology and new software, bringing it down the line. So is there anything that you guys have in the works right now that might apply to these Insight products?
Yeah, we're actually working on some stuff right now. Basically, I've got a lot of guys out there, especially in the diesel market, who've added larger turbos, injectors that need custom tuning options. We've actually worked with some custom tuners to be able to control their shift on the fly. Okay. So to change their power levels driving, right now they have to install a little switch that goes in the dash, and there's another hole in the dash. We don't want that. So we're trying to keep that general central command center. So we have our EAS shift on the fly that's going to come out to where you can actually plug it into our EAS system and then use our power levels on the up and down menu screen to control the power level of the custom tune in your vehicle as well. And there's some other things we're working on as well that we'll come out with. The monitor, working with other custom tuning stuff a little bit different as well. But yeah, we really are trying to always advance at what we can do to add to it. Really it comes back what the customer wants, we try to provide for them. So.
Very nice. Yeah, and that opens some new opportunities for a guy who maybe just buys this as an engine monitor and to have some gauges, and then down the line decides he wants to get into that custom tuning range. That definitely adds a way for him to kind of upgrade and progress with a device that he already has, which is very cool. All right, well, thank you, Jared, for running through all the details here and kind of breaking this down for us. If you guys are interested in picking up one of these Insight devices for your vehicle, you can head down that description below, click the links, it'll shoot you over to our website, and we'll see you guys next time.